With just over 9 months into retirement, I think I have been to the doctor more often in the last year than at any other point in my life. What's going on? Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Andre. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're returning, as always, my deepest gratitude. Thank you so much for coming back. Perhaps I have more time to schedule doctor's appointments, or perhaps there's something to be said about needing more medical attention as you get to be older, but man, it seems like I am just living my life doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment. I recall making a joke with my parents when they were in retirement. I wasn't yet retired, and my father would say to me, hey, this week I've got this appointment on Monday, and your mother has this appointment on Wednesday and Thursday and stuff, and I would be laughing. I was like, well, that's all you guys seem to do in retirement. I should have been more careful. Now that I am in retirement, I kid you not, it seems like my calendar is just constantly this appointment, that other appointment. I don't know. Maybe it's just that I now have more time to get to the things that I wasn't getting to when I was working, but I'm not sure what's going on. I've shared before that I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure in 2023. And a few months ago, I was prescribed semaglutide, Ozempic, to deal with some diabetes and obesity concerns. Okay, but those aside, or included, I guess, we also talk about, I was making up a list to see of all of the different doctor's appointments that I have had recently-ish. My primary care physician, okay, so let's start with PCP first, but I also now have a urologist, a cardiologist, a dermatologist, a podiatrist, a physical therapist. I'm doing some physical therapy. I'll talk about more of that in a minute. And I've been seeing a sleep specialist. I am on a CPAP machine, as I have been for several years. And so on. And I am just finding it astonishing that I actually have a list of doctors that I have, that I have them all sorted in my phone, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. such and such, and so on. It's truly amazing to me. And this getting older thing is for the birds. In the last few years, I also had a colonoscopy. A different specialist did that. And I had an ear, nose, and throat doctor deal with a deviated septum. So I am attributing some of this to retirement, but really we're talking about over the last maybe couple of years. And I just figure as you get to retirement, you're going to be older. So, just wanted to kind of let, if you hadn't really been thinking about it, as you approach retirement, just kind of get yourself ready for the fact that you are going to be having more visits to medical professionals to help you with different things. So let's back up here and kind of go through this. So my PCP was the person who I see probably the most regularly, and she, monitors my weight and my blood pressure and sugar levels, glucose levels and stuff, and so on. And then earlier this year, we're like, okay, let's start to deal with this. I've been obese for most of my adult life, all of my adult life. But now my A1C stuff was getting to be from the pre-diabetic stage to getting close to actually going over into full-blown diabetes. So we needed to do something about that. Beyond the dietary changes and stuff that I had tried in the past, let's then talk about now actually putting you on some medication to try and help this. I was put on semaglutide back in May. It is now October here, and I am just this far away from going down from pre-diabetic back to normal. So, there's very much value, and this video is not about saying, oh, well, I should stop seeing doctors or anything like that. This is just kind of giving you more of a warning of what's coming. So very excited about that. Urologist. I'm an older male, so they want to do, screenings for prostate cancer. And like I said, I had a colonoscopy as well, all that kind of stuff down in those regions, see what's going on. But I'm going to get to a point that I wanted to make here when I go through this list. So let's continue with the list. I have a cardiologist, obviously, with the congestive heart failure diagnosis. That person I see now periodically as well. Dermatologist, I have a few skin, I forget what they call them, skin tags, maybe. You see some of them here and so on, that we're working on getting some of those removed and so on. More aesthetic than anything else. I was told that they're not cancerous, they're not dangerous to my health, but, vanity, I guess, I don't know, just kind of get rid of them at some point. Podiatrists, I think I mentioned on here before, I had a bout of plantar fasciitis that started last year and kind of continued into early this year. That seems to have been resolved now, so very excited about that. Physical therapy. I am back in physical therapy. I had been seeing a physical therapist to deal with the podiatrist. That's all cleared up, but now I'm dealing with some tennis elbow in my left arm here. So a couple weeks ago, we started physical therapy, working on trying to get that out of there. They're doing some deep tissue massage and some electric shock thing and some other stuff and so on. Sleep specialist I've been seeing for several years. I have some breathing issues, hence where I went to the ear, nose, and throat person who found the deviated septum. And even after the repair of that, we still have some concerns there. So I continue to see my sleep specialist. He checks out how I'm doing with my CPAP machine and so on. And this is just what's going on now. I am a month and a half away from my 60th birthday. 60 is coming at me strong. It'll hit me in November. But it just seems like there's more and more and more visits to the doctor. And a point I wanted to make, way back when, I remember being a young person, I would have a sprained ankle or whatever it might be. And I would go to see the doctor, they'd patch me up or make some sort of an assessment and send me on my way. And I didn't have to reach back out to the doctor again until such time as, yes, I have some other ailment or some other situation. Now it seems to me like every time I go to the doctor, as I am leaving, they are scheduling a follow-up appointment. So I go to see the doctor about X, and they say, great, here's what's going on. Let's just prescribe this medication or do this therapy or whatever it is, and so on. And then, okay, I'd like to see you back in 3 months, or I'd like to see you back in 6 months, or whatever have you. So as you're going out to check out and stuff, yes, they'd like to see you back in 3 months. Would October be good for you? So there just seems to be this constant, follow-up. So every visit to the doctor to deal with everything just now seems to turn into 2 or 3 or more visits to follow up with that. And I get it, good medical care does require that they follow up and see what's going on. But my goodness, it just seems like I am constantly living my life. My wife and I are trying to plan some trips and so on. And like, well, okay, what appointments do you have? And what appointments do you have? And let's see, well, we can fit in a week here or a weekend there where we don't have any appointments. It's just truly astonishing. So just a kind of a heads up, I know this is a different video than we normally do on here, but it is something that is affecting me in my retirement. So I wanted to bring it to your attention that as you get closer, be ready. There are going to be more trips to medical professionals, and you're going to just put it on your list. I will link below. I did a video which sort of seems related to this, talking about healthcare in retirement. I'll put a link to that down below, so please feel free to check that one out, as well as what we're doing in terms of dealing with all of the costs of all of these medical visits and so on. All right, so that's what I wanted to accomplish in this video. Thank you so much for stopping by, much appreciated. If you found this to be something that you could relate to, or somebody that you found that might be able to might have a similar interest and be able to get some value out of this, I ask that you please give me a like and please share the video with others who might find this worthy of giving them a heads up as to what's going on. If you're not already a subscriber, I ask that you consider subscribing to the channel. We continue to do lots of things on different topics about what we're dealing with in retirement. And I truly appreciate your stopping by. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks again. And as always, in Alita Times.